He wants everybody back inside the 45-metre line. The All-Ireland final is underway, and straight away it's Brian Steins back towards Pat Gilroy. Fumbled by Keith Barr, but recovered. Struggling to get away from the attentions there of Greg Blaney, who was hitting out. Nice ball inside towards Dessie Farrell. Quick transfer. Paul Clark lobbing it forward there towards Mick Galvin. Got the goal of the season against Leitrim. Well, that's so far. Maybe there's another one. Charlie Redmond, Dublin's first attack. There's plenty of players in there. That's gone wide. One or two of them might have been in the small rectangle as well. Enterprising kick there by Charlie. By far and away Dublin's leading scorer, of course, with 4 goals and 26 points going into this final. Gregory McCartan bats it down, back towards DJ Kane. Gave the instruction there to Paul Higgins to move outside to pick up the pass. Dessie Farrell got the 3rd goal for Dublin in the semi. Looking now for the first score. Dublin dominated the early exchanges in 1992 as well. Here's Vinnie Murphy. Good ball across. Jack Sheedy throwing it back in there towards McGalvin, partly blocked down. Collins having to come. 3 Dublin players and the eagerness going for that one. And the rain continuing to fall down incessantly. It's raining very heavily indeed at this stage. McDeegan ready to take the sideline kick. Game still scoreless. Micheál McGill, the entertainment's manager, towards Ross Carr. Good long ball. Now the hop here, deceiving Paul Curran. Mickey Linden, the vice-captain of this down team. Paddy Moran coming out, but unable to beat Gregory McCartan. McCartan kicking, looking for the first score, and it just goes over John O'Leary's crossbar. Down go in front. Well, this is a kick here that John O'Leary might well have opted to try and catch on a drier day. It came down on towards the crossbar and over. Conor Deegan chased the whole time there by Pat Gilroy, and that's a free in the act of trying to take the ball up. Mickey Linden, the player who was in with the boot. Mickey Linden really is one of the paciest players in senior Gaelic football. This again the point from our camera inside the goal. Vinnie Murphy. Free to Dublin. Referee really up with the play very smartly. Taken quickly across towards Dessie Farrell's corner. Well, Paul Higgins has shown himself in the past to be a very good man marker. Paul Clark kicking, and that's gone through the post and over. Paul Clark is going to be marked by James McCartan, or maybe it should be the other way around. And when McCartan goes very deep indeed, Dessie Farrell appreciated that Clark is a very good shooter. That's a good point. It will not suit down at all if players like James McCartan and Greg Blaney start to come too deep. Gregory McCartan. Once again, it's Paul Clark. This time Eamon Burns picks it up. Bit of work here for the corner forward, Gary Mason to get at. Paddy Moran belted in well, fisted away by Charlie Redmond. Niall Guyden now popping up on the right hand side. Nicely in for Dessie Farrell. Looked around, considered a return pass, gives it back to Niall Guyden. Angle getting tight, goalkeeper out. And that's gone off the defender for a 45. Some very open play so far in this match. Niall Guyden, the one who's closing in here, that goes off the knees of Niall Collins. Charlie Redmond today playing in a 33rd championship match. Hoping it'll be third time lucky as well, having finished on the losing side in 1985 and 1992. This to try and give Dublin the lead. Little or no breeze about this afternoon, but there is that rain. Good looking kick from Charlie. Great point from the 45. Dublin go in front. Very much the darling of the hill. So Dublin in front for the first time in this final. Neil Collins switching the kick out towards Gregory McCartan. Likely to pop up anywhere. Down towards Aidan Farrell. Back to Greg Blaney, one of the stars of 91. Nicely in towards Mickey Linden, who's been isolated inside there. Linden's getting free. Chance of an equaliser. And he's put it over. That was very close indeed. A point then for Mickey Linden, and the sides are level. Just for a minute there I thought the umpire was going to flag that one wide, but Linden, who got there just ahead of Paul Curran, just measured it accurately, just inside the right upright. Eamon Burns adjudged to have been fouled. Down get the free. Jack Sheedy is back into midfield with Brian Steins and with Pat Gilroy, and effectively Dublin are playing three in that sector. That goes off the boot there of Greg Blaney on towards Mickey Linden. Paul Curran is coming out. Dermot Deasy lending his assistance. Knocking it across here. Dropped down by Jack Sheedy. It was intended for Paul Clark. Came instead to Eamon Burns. Now James McCartan, the wee man himself, trying to steal in for a point. Off the post, comes down again into the waiting arms of Dermot Deasy. Very close indeed. Paul Clark in over the head there of Vinnie Murphy, gathered well by Barry Breen. Down towards Mickey Linden. Oh, great save! That's a tremendous save by John O'Leary. Brilliant save indeed. It may have been James McCartan who got the last touch to it. We'll have to watch it again. Barry Breen knocking it in there, seeing that McCartan had got away. Great save. One of the best of the season. Well, James McCartan stole inside there. And that was certainly a goal chance. There's a change of studs here by one of the down players across to the far side. Is it DJ Kane? I think it may be. So we'll have a 45 when we well might have had a down goal. Ross Carr, normally a very confident free taker. He was practicing frees in the rain in Newry last week. Looks good. It's over the bar. Great point by Ross Carr. We've had 2 points now from 45s. I remember a coach a few years ago of an All-Ireland team confessing afterwards that he hadn't got his free taker to take the frees in the rain during training because he was worried he might get double pneumonia. And there you see the elements being very unkind this afternoon. Brian Stein still to exert a major influence at midfield. So far the down pair, and in particular Gregory McCartan, getting on the ball time and again. Barry Breen, who played that marvellous ball in for James McCartan a little while ago, into Aidan Farrell. And the referee in there quickly. Aidan Farrell is on the ground, and the player being called across is Paul Curran. Paul Curran, who's played just about everywhere for the Dubs, is given the warning. I think the name was taken as well. This is the incident once again here, as Paul Curran was coming across here and the elbow was very high and it wasn't a fair side-to-side charge as the rule book decrees it. So this, a simpler chance for Ross Carr and an opportunity to put Down ahead by 2 points. Down's medical officer is Dr. John Gribben. Composing himself. And was the defence back 13 metres? I'm not sure. I don't think so. They get away with it. And just one between them. And this time a free once again against the Dubs. Too many steps taken. So Keith Barr having a quick word there with referee Tommy Sugru. So once again, there's a down free kick entrusted to Ross Carr. This time the cover back the requisite distance. He measured it nicely. So 2 points for Ross Carr, and Down now leading by double scores. Well, a long, long way to go. Barry Breen tries to break it down. Down very good at getting onto the break and ball very quickly. Towards Mickey Linden. Against Paul Curran, who's having real problems. Linden, and that time it was Jack Sheedy coming back into the back. Quizzical look on the face of Jack Sheedy. Not much doubt about it. Referee all nonplussed by the counter-arguments. This is again where Jack was coming in, and I think it was with the right hand that he managed to bundle him over. So once more the left boot of Ross Carr from Clonduff near Newry. Low enough trajectory, but same result. 3 points for Ross Carr, and it's 5-2 to Down. Really is a miserable afternoon. John O'Leary changing his mind at the very last second. Dermot Deasy going long. Fisted away by Gregory McCartan. His namesake James trying to keep the ball in play, but it's going to be a Dublin sideline kick. Paul Clark unable to hit it fast. Deep one inside towards Vinnie Murphy. We've yet to see the best of Vinnie. Much too near the goalkeeper. Eamon Burns. Gathered up here by Keith Barr. Niall Guyden. Brian Steins back again to Niall Guyden. Now to Jack Sheedy. Scoring not normally the best part of his game, but this is much, much better. Jack Sheedy took his time. Very accurate kick, and it's 5 points to 3. Well, that will certainly settle the Dubs down and give Jack a huge boost of confidence. This time Mick Deegan trying to get to the end of it with Ross Carr. Breaks kindly for Deegan. Sells a dummy. 2 Down players there waiting for it. One of them is Micheál McGill. Has a colleague in support on his right-hand side. Down towards Mickey Linden. One instead by Paddy Moran. McDeegan once again. Charlie Redmond waiting for it. getting there ahead of Barry Breen. Into space towards McGalvin. It comes away off his marker. Back towards Charlie Redmond again. This is a very good move. Niall Guyden attempting to fist the point. That's the second wide for Dublin. And that should have been a score. That was a great build-up. And he'll be very disappointed. Well, for once, the down defence was stretched badly there. A very good move indeed. Brian Steins fisting the way to the left-hand side. Jack Sheedy was the intended recipient. So it's Eamon Burns who's gone back to right half, and DJ Kane has gone back to left half. Appeals all around. And now it's Aidan Farrell. Back to Greg Blaney. Getting space. Just enough to get it back towards Mickey Linden once again. Linden in towards James McCartan, drifts away from his man time and again, but Paul Clarke did well. Brian Steins. Long ball up towards Dessie Farrell. Farrell breaks it down towards Vinnie Murphy. Murphy being roared on by the Dublin fans, but he kicks to the right. Two promising attacks now by Dublin in the last couple of minutes, coming to naught. Brian Steins attempting to fetch. Vinnie Murphy fisting it ahead. Dessie Farrell having difficulty in the greasy conditions, holding on. That'll be a down ball. And Gregory McCartan been reminded by the linesman Paddy Russell to take it back. Knocked forward well. Here's Mickey Linden. Here's a goal chance. James McCartan rolls it in. A goal after nearly 18 minutes. That was coming. The Dublin defence ripped apart. It all came from a sideline kick, and when Mickey Linden was in the clear, he could have gone for the goal himself, but unselfishly he placed James McCartan. Broken down again by Gregory McCartan. Barry Breen on towards Aidan Farrell. This is really putting it up to Dublin. Knocked on by Ross Carr. Mickey Linden racing. Paul Curran coming out for it. He leaves it behind, touches it on the ground, and that's going to be a free into down. Nothing going right just now for Dublin in defence. Missed the goal again from just behind the goal. It was a good knock on initially to place Mickey Linden in the clear. Here's Gary Mason, down with an embarrassment of riches when it comes to free taking. And again, you wonder if the Dublin player Keith Barr was back 13 metres. Ball very slippery, and Greg Blaney running into the official. Nicely back and popped over the bar, brilliantly so by the full forward Aidan Farrell. His first point of the day, and the gap widens. Well, Down have taken a firm grip on this tie, solid in defence, better in midfield, creating openings up front. That was the block there as the ball squirmed outside. Jack Sheedy, and there was where Greg Blaney just collided with Tommy Sugrue. Back live, it's Ross Carr. Referee says it's going to be a free to Dublin. And Pat O'Neill must be most concerned. Eamon Burns, the work rate of this Down team is quite admirable. They play well for one another, and they have the confidence as well of knowing what it takes to win in All-Ireland. They've done it, and this Dublin team has not. Rosscar. Belted in well. James McCartan recovers, then it's tripped, it appears, by Paul Clark. Referee says play on. Aidan Farrell gets it back as far as Conor Deegan. McCartan fumbling to go around Pat Gilroy. Once again it's Conor Deegan in the clear. Oh, he'd love to have scored there. Star golfer he may be, but in front of the posts, well, not of the best. John O'Leary rather screws that one. James McCartan picks it up. He's having quite a battle here with Paul Clark all this while. Ball runs loose and the referee says play on. And it's Paul Curran. Forward towards Keith Barr, pushed in the back by Greg Blaney. Referee going back now to check on James McCartan, is down. Injured in that last little collision there. John Gribben there attending to him. One of 4 down forwards playing this afternoon of the 6 who are past pupils of St. Coleman's College in Newry. This was the chase for possession here, and he was really taken out of it rather badly. Deegan placing Pat Gilroy. Giving it back towards McDeegan, but he's a lot of work to do. Did well, still scampering after it. Paul Higgins coming up to tidy up. Brian Steins. Jack Sheedy calling for it. Greg Blaney coming from behind. The slippery conditions not helping Mick Galvin that time. Nonetheless, it reaches Desi Farrell. Back towards Galvin again, slip sliding around the place. I wonder, has he the correct studs on? Back towards Vinnie Murphy. Kicking. Has he got the range? He has. That'll do Dublin an awful lot of good. Vinny's first this afternoon. Just 5 between them. The hand pass here, setting up Vinnie Murphy. And a truly executed kick. Conor Deegan, that's a great catch by Deegan. On towards Mickey Linden. But look at the way Down are there in support the whole time, always believing they can get a score. This time denied by Dermot Deasy. Mick Deegan from Pat Gilroy, back to the fullback once more. Playing adventurously. Stopped there by Ross Carr, but fouled on the 65-metre line. Not too many options open for Deasy, so he has to go with the lateral pass here to Paddy Moran. Inside towards Charlie Redmond, runs on behind Micheál McGill. Neil Collins clearing it swiftly. Gregory McCartan. Again, there's always a man in support. This time it's Paul Higgins. McGill driving it. Dublin there in numbers, but it's broken down by Aidan Farrell as far as Keith Barr for the Dubs. Poor ball, gives it straight to Eamon Burns. Mickey Linden powerless to prevent the ball from going out of play. And Dublin, I think, are making a switch in defence, and it appears that Paul Clark is now going on Mickey Linden, and Paul Curran has gone across onto James McCartan, who is now playing top of the left. Gary Mason's come out to left half forward. Meanwhile, Barry Breen, and that time ball was hopped twice, and it's going to be a free to Dublin. Just a momentary lapse in concentration. So just about 10 minutes now to go to half-time. Charlie Redmond has 1 point to his credit so far, that from a 45. This is about the 45-metre line. And very close to the sideline. A difficult kick for Charlie. Will he opt to go for a score? Lobbing it in there. They're all inside. Brian Steins, one of the players in there at the end, and Micheál McGill standing firm. Brian Burns, his fullback. DJ Kane, the team captain. Down towards Mickey Linden, who now has a new marker, as I said. Paul Clark, his momentum carrying him out over the sideline. Greg Blaney takes it quickly. Clark is not back in time to mark Mickey Linden. But the ball has gone out over the sideline. But quick thinking by Down. Paul Curran has made a run across towards Paul Clark here. Aimed towards Pat Gilroy. Took it with one hand. Very good. Nicely forward. This is a very enterprising run with Guyden involved. On towards Charlie Redmond. Back towards Niall Guyden. And he had Dessie Farrell waiting, but he was in the small rectangle. And it's got over the bar. There was a real goal chance there. But Niall Guyden from Raheny more than content with the point. And just 4 points separating the teams. Watch as this builds up here. Dessie Farrell was in there in the small rectangle the whole time. Charlie Redmond back to Guyden. And that's where Dessie was in the small rectangle, but the point counts. Conor Deegan punting it ahead. Once again, Aidan Farrell going onto his knees. Gary Mason now. That curls, and it's over. Great point. The Loughlin Island forward, making it 1-7 to 5 points. This is where Conor Deegan and Dublin in defence have been slow to react when Down breaks so swiftly. Barry Breen again knocked forward, but this time it's Dermot Deasy, with Aidan Farrell complaining that he was pushed out of the way. Eamon Burns runs away from him to Charlie Redmond, outside to Jack Sheedy. Got a good point earlier on. Back to Niall Guyden, who got the last for Dublin. In towards Dessie Farrell, won however by Paul Higgins, colliding there with Brian Steins. Back to Gregory McCartan, one of the newcomers to Championship football this year. Appeals there from Gary Mason. He was being pushed by Paddy Moore, and referee says play on. James McCartan spreading it wide. Mickey Linden having some work to do. Greg Blaney is in support if he needs him. Trying to skip away there from Paul Clark. Again, driving in well, making a better angle for himself, and a great score. A second point for Mickey Linden. He is so difficult to tie down. One of the greats of the game. This one of his best seasons ever, I think. And watch as he came back from this run here to take it onto the other boot and find the point range. Jack Sheedy touches it down. Vinnie Murphy trying to set the Dublin forwards going. Brian Steins constantly moving into attack, going for a point himself from a great distance out. That's a wonderful kick by Steins. So the two named midfielders for Dublin, Sheedy and Steins, have now scored. This is where that ball was picked up, good 40 metres out. It's a great kick. Gregory McCartan was breaking, but the ball didn't reach him. Came to Brian Steins instead. Paul Curran much happier up around right half back. Stopped by James McCartan. Man of the match in the 1991 final. Charlie Redmond has come out to take this. At 47 metres, as you can see, from the down goal. So Dublin 5 points in arrears. Can Charlie do something about that with this kick? Very deep, nicely in. Came out from Barry Breen and there was a down man waiting for it. Paul Higgins nicely forward, lovely combined play by the Ulster champions. DJ Kane. Dublin have been a bit hurried, a bit rushed. The cohesion has been lacking at times. The understanding coming from down. Gary Mason nicely forward towards Mickey Linden, and that time unable to contain that pass. John O'Leary locating McDeegan. Pat Gilroy trying to flick it on towards Deegan, but the first touch isn't there. And Deegan in a little bit of frustration there with his namesake Conor Deegan from Downpatrick. Referee Tommy Sugru having the word there with Greg Blaney. Gregory McCartan in towards Mickey Linden, and Paul Clark still trying to come to terms with the threat posed by Linden, picking out McDeegan. Once again Dermot Deasy makes a run out of the full back line. It's judged well by Micheál McGill. He's playing very solidly. Out to Eamon Burns, showing no ill effects of the injury that curbed his preparations for this match. But when they had possession there, it's rather wasted. Well, Pat O'Neill in a few minutes' time will be heading down for the team talk, and I'm sure he'll have a lot to say. It's still there for the Dubs if they're good enough. Pat Gilroy. Jack Sheedy now. This holds some promise. On his left-hand side, that's a great kick. He's kicking wonderfully this afternoon. A second point for the Garda. And once again, just 4 points between these teams. Right foot and left foot. Jack Sheedy's been able to do it this afternoon. A confident run forward, beating the attempted block by Eamon Burns. Conor Deegan breaks it down for Barry Breen. Use play in midfield. This towards Gary Mason against Brian Steins. Trying to set Desi Farrell on his way. Not if Paul Higgins has his way, and the trip there by Niall Guyton, spotted by referee Tommy Sugru. And there's going to be a little lecture for the number 12. So Dublin about to have a second player booked in this match. First of all it was Paul Curran, and now it's Niall Guyton for this trip coming in here. Gary Mason just got a nudge as that one came down towards Paddy Moran. Picked up here and then taken to ground by Dermot Deasy. And the referee saying, back you go, let's keep it nice and calm. Bit of common sense needed. Gary Mason, the one who's last up. Referee today was in charge of 2 previous finals, 3 if you include the replay of 1988, and this the incident that's leading to a double booking. Just watch here as that ball was picked up, and then Dermot Deasy took his man to ground. Deasy protesting, the referee isolating the two of them, and so it's Gary Mason and also Dermot Deasy who are having the names taken. And the referee, I think, laying down the law to all and sundry. It may be wet and slippery, but let's play by the rules. Pat Gilroy bursting through the centre here, but the referee says you fouled the ball. They're free to down. Ross Carr this time deciding to leave it to the other free taker in the attack. Well, they have 3 in all, but one of them is Gary Mason, recently booked. Gregory McCartan was also a possible option for taking the free. So on a damp and dismal afternoon, as we're into injury time in a match in which Down lead by 8 to 7 points. A late scoring chance at the end of this first half. Big kick from Gary Mason, tailing to the left. Just the second wide for Down in the first half. Dublin had 3. And the referee saying that's it for the first half. It's been a good competitive first half. Down have looked the better prepared team. Their game plan is working well. They've imposed their will on Dublin, but there's still another 35 minutes to go, and anything can happen. Half-time position here, it's Down 1-8, that's 11 points. Dublin 7.